Hi guys, so I'm just gonna do a little bit of talking to the camera today because I actually have some chores I need to do. So I apologize for the darkness. My light is dead. But I'm just gonna be talking to the camera while I fold some shirts. I got this for that too. So this will be new. This is like super fancy, but it says it's easy to use. I don't know. I just need some order to my t-shirts. How to fold shirts. Okay, I'm gonna do this first. Let me see.
Oh, hey, it's got a picture on here. Please shirt on window fold. It's not completely flat, so I don't know how that's gonna work, but I've got things to do, so I don't have time to like sit around and wait for this to work. It would probably work better flat though. Whoop. See, but it caved in the middle. Alright, that side flipped better. And then now, the middle or the bottom? What does it matter?
Not horrible. I'm gonna try again though. Anyways, okay, let's actually do what I said I was going to do. Hopefully my microphone doesn't get in the way either, but I know I'm very soft-spoken, so it's definitely better when I have a microphone. Here, how about there? Is that okay? I'll just try to keep my hair out of the way. So, I was talking with a friend a couple days ago about, I don't remember why it came up. I think he sent me something first about the new book rules for Florida that Governor DeSantis put out. And I am not particularly a fan of DeSantis, and I usually make that known, at least to people in my inner circle. And somehow, this one friend of mine wasn't really aware of that, and I just made the comment that I thought it was completely inappropriate as far as legislation goes. That phrase, stay in your lane, that's exactly how I feel regarding most of the policies DeSantis puts out. So I was going back and forth with this friend of mine, discussing in general just the policy and why it's inappropriate, and he couldn't get past, I'm sitting here explaining I have books that would technically fall in all three of those categories in my personal classroom library, or my personal library collection, because I'm not in a classroom right now. I just have all my books in storage at the moment. But I have books that could technically fall into all of those categories. Books discussing race, books discussing sexuality, books discussing, I wouldn't say pornography, but it seems like by DeSantis' rules, that's what he's considering it. I have books that, discuss the human body and how boys and girls are different, and it's for the purpose of, staying safe more than anything. Because I believe that young children need to know what their body parts are for safety reasons. Not really knowing your body parts, why you have them, how they're different from the other gender, can be dangerous. Because when you're little, you just, there's a lot you don't understand. And it scares me that someone is just trying to completely do away with it. So I told him, yeah, I technically have books in all of those categories. They're not out all the time, but I have them. They're resources. And he goes, well, there's too many people in classrooms today who are just acting, they're being woke. They're teaching it when it's not appropriate. He said, it's almost like the classroom has just become a place of activism, and that's not what it should be. It should be for a place of learning. And that got me thinking, because one of the things that always annoys me in these discussions is that I'm a professional. I took 4 years of a bachelor's program in child development and education, and then I took an additional 2 years in teaching curriculum or developing curriculum, particularly in using the arts. So I'm pretty well versed, I would say, in what is developmentally appropriate practice. And then to have a governor come in and tell me, oh, well, you can't teach this because it's not appropriate. Well, you don't know what's developmentally appropriate. You didn't do the training. I did. I still have the student debt to prove it. But it got me thinking. Part of the problem is there's a lot of teachers nowadays who don't have that education. I sometimes see a lot of talk on the internet in teacher circles about requirements of education degrees, and that the education degree doesn't make you a better teacher. And while I can agree to that to an extent, I do think that the educator training that I did taught me not only the basics of teaching, but it also taught me how to be a decent person to the kids. And we did, people talk about teachers being very liberal because you kind of have to. You don't know who's going to walk through your door. You have to be prepared for anything. And so that does kind of innately make us very accepting, because we see things in the classroom about personal lives, family lives, that other people don't see. And I know what's developmentally appropriate for my age because I studied what's developmentally appropriate for my age group. And arguably, other teachers have done the same for their age groups. I can't personally speak for upper grades. I don't know what their teacher prep is. But where I'm going with this, I think part of the problem is we haven't really standardized the requirements for becoming a teacher. If you look at other countries, other affluent countries, they tend to have teacher programs that everybody has to have a certain degree, and a certain level of degree. And as far as I'm aware, the requirements for being a teacher, a public school teacher, and I'm thinking just public school pre-K 12, them not including private schools or anything like that. As far as I'm aware, teachers are required to have a bachelor's degree, but it doesn't matter what in. And then they're supposed to pass the educator exams for their area of development. And if you can teach in a subject that you haven't passed the test for, but you're marked as out of, I don't remember. There's a designation for it. Out of field, I think. The only place where I think it's acceptable is in something like, my mom is actually a teacher for the medical academy at a high school. So of course, she's better off having the medical experience and the medical degree than a teaching degree. But I think that's really the only exception where that should be made. And I know this is not a popular opinion, because I can already think of people who would not like this response. Just people that I know who are teachers who don't have the education degree. But I think the benefit in having the education degree is that you can guarantee the people coming in have the knowledge and the training to know what is developmentally appropriate. So you don't have teachers coming in and teaching things that are just widely off the rails. Because yes, teaching inclusion and acceptance of everybody, that is important. That's 100% important. And that shouldn't be left out because a few people are scared that it'll go too far. And that's the thing with DeSantis's policies for the most part, is I've seen it from the very beginning as just kind of a fear mongering. Like, we see the worst coming out in the news, and so we jump on those as examples. And another thing, so that was the basis of the conversation, but then as we wrapped it up, my friend said, but I think the point of these policies is to keep the people who don't know what they're doing out. And I said, no, but that's not what they're doing. They're putting additional requirements on the teachers that are already there, the teachers who do have the knowledge and experience, and they're burning out. So, it was an interesting conversation because I had not considered that perspective before. And it got me thinking about what the bigger problem is. But then again, okay, so we had a conversation about what the bigger problem is. How do you go and fix that? And I don't have the answer to that question. But I think oftentimes in political discussions, especially regarding education, we kind of tend to leave out parts that are important for discussing. Like, it's very easy to just write off conservatives as just being unaccepting and careless about anybody but themselves. And, they'll typically write off Democrats as going overboard with things. And I think both groups to a degree are right. And I don't identify as one or the other. I'm kind of down the middle politically, and I'm not even registered as a Republican or Democrat. But I do think that we need to be having more discussions and not just writing the other off as crazy. But when we do have these discussions, we need to be willing to talk through things and not just sticking to our opinions, sticking to our guns without flexibly listening to what the other has to say. And I know I can't fix the world, but I'm an educator, so I try. Anyways, I'm gonna fold some shirts without interruption, and I'm sure y'all are tired of watching me fold shirts. So I hope you have a great rest of your day. Whatever you're doing, I hope you enjoy it. Live your life to the fullest. I don't know, I don't really have an ending. I just kind of make it up as I go every time. Keep learning, enjoy the journey, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.